I'm Tori Watson. I'm a career and education outreach specialist with Workforce Solutions Capital Area. Today, we welcome you to our career video series provided to you in partnership with Workforce Solutions Capital Area and City of Austin. You are joining us for a unique webinar series where we interview professionals in in-demand industries to learn more about career pathways and educational opportunities in Austin, Texas. Today we have Julie Hollandsworth, who is a treatment superintendent with Austin Water. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
So just to dive in, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do with the city?
So, like you said, my name is Julie Hollandsworth, and I am a treatment superintendent at the Davis Water Treatment Plant, which is one of 3 drinking water plants with Austin Water. And I guess we'll get into it on the questions, but I've been with the city for 11 years now, and I've been in my current role for just over a year.
Wonderful, thank you. Going off of that, could you tell us about your main responsibilities and describe your typical workday?
So my main responsibility is water quality. And to achieve the high water quality, I monitor our compliance in regards to regulatory requirements from TCEQ and the EPA. I analyze data and prepare reports. I look for ways to optimize our processes, both operationally and mechanically. I manage our budget. And I deal with employee issues. I do hiring and employee evaluations and provide technical advice to internal and external customers. And I also field resident or neighbor or customer concerns. Typical day, get to the plant, check status of the plant, how much water we're making, the quality of the water coming in and the water that is leaving the plant. I talk with my operations and maintenance supervisors about any issues that they're having, check emails and reply to emails, and then I'm involved in lots of meetings. We have big construction projects going on at the plant right now, so there's a lot of meetings that come with that, progress, questions, do design reviews for construction projects, seek technology improvements, and then meet with staff and talk with employees. And I get to spend a fair amount of time outside, moving around the plant, checking the status of equipment, looking at the water, and looking at progress on the construction projects as well.
Thank you. For the construction projects, are those with your plant, is that new businesses and buildings, or is that homes that you're working with?
So it's part of the plant. We actually have, we put in a whole new electrical substation. The plant was built in 1954, and so most of the electrical equipment had not been upgraded since then, and what had been done had sort of been piecemeal together. And so we've overhauled and upgraded all of the electricity through the plant. And then the medium service pump station, which is the pump station that moves water out of the plant into central Austin, was also original to the plant. And so we are working on building a brand new modern pump station that it's a big project.
Wow, that's really cool. It reminds me of, I think it's a pump station in downtown by the new Central Library. I believe that was a water pump station. That reminds me of that area.
Yep, that was the original water plant to Austin that is no longer with us, but yeah.
Thank you. So you are a superintendent, and you said you were in this position for a year. I assume that means you kind of built up to this position. What did that kind of look like?
So when I started with the city 11 years ago, I actually started at Davis, where I'm at now, as a treatment plant worker, which is pretty much the most entry-level position in Austin Water. And through that, I progressed through the job family, which is the operations and maintenance technician job family. And so I became an operation and maintenance technician associate, and then progressed to assistant to senior, and then became a supervisor. I actually moved from the plant where I'm at now to the pump stations and reservoirs group, which they handle all of the distribution of the water. So when it leaves the plants, it goes out into the system through a series of pipes and goes to water tanks and pump stations around the city. And so I worked with them for 5 years and then came back to Davis as the superintendent.
Okay, thank you. So for your entry level and all the way up to now, what kind of education or training did you require for your position, or did you take?
So as the entry level, there's not a whole lot of experience required for that. We now and at the time are looking for people with some mechanical aptitude and maybe some process control knowledge, but it basically need a high school diploma for that one. But then in my background, I had minor home repair experience, carpentry, plumbing, minor electrical, and then I had welding experience too. I was a blacksmith for years. And so that was the path that I had that got my foot in the door, which I also, for my current role and as a supervisor, I had management experience at restaurants, actually. But so since I've been with the city, I've taken all sorts of water classes: basic water, surface water production, groundwater production, utility management, utility safety, utility calculations, math classes, and then maintenance classes from like pump and motor repair and blueprint reading and valve and hydrant. And as you progress through the O&M program, you need certain licenses from TCEQ, and you need, so many years of experience and so much training, and then you qualify for the different level of licenses. So my position now, I need a B license from TCEQ. It starts at D and goes up to A, and I actually have an A license at this point, which I think was a total of 184 hours of training, and you have to have 8 years of experience to test for that license. So,
goodness. Well, congratulations on all you've achieved. That's incredible. When I was done with school, I was like, I think I'm done for a few years. So.
Well, when I took the A, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm at the highest level. So
we're at the top. Good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said you have some blacksmithing and welding, which is incredible. That's awesome. And carpentry. Are there any other skills that you feel that are helpful to have going into this position?
Industrial maintenance is helpful, which is, kind of a whole another level of mechanics and minor maintenance. We're working on 20 million, 40 million gallon a day pumps that are, these massive pieces of equipment. And so it's been interesting, being a trainer and then also moving through the program, is that if you have mechanical aptitude, so much of this equipment is common sense. And a lot of the training that we give our guys is on the job training. We do a lot of peer-to-peer training. We're working on coming up with specific task lists for the guys so that they can, take a list and say, okay, here's how you change the oil on a pump. And so we're really trying to groom the training. But the other thing that we're looking for, because I did and our guys do both operations and maintenance. And the operations side, you get into the chemistry of actually making drinking water. And so knowing your chemicals, knowing how to run tests on the water, looking for changes in turbidity and water quality. And so we really need people who are well-rounded, who, like being out in the field and like getting dirty, but then are also equipped to sit in a control room and monitor SCADA screens and use computers. So we need our people to be able to do both sides.
Good to know. So just very well-rounded. That kind
Yeah.
of leads into the next question of, since you're a superintendent and you're in like this supervisory role, and you said you had management skills from being in a restaurant, what kind of soft skills are necessary for your position or to work in your area?
Really being able to work with a variety of people and to kind of change how you handle yourself and how you deal with, each individual. We also, it's 24/7 operation. So we always have people at the plant, which takes kind of a special breed of people too, to be able to work, around the clock. So yeah, really, human people skills are very important. Both, I mean, just because of the variety of people you're working with, but also just because of the work we do too.
Thank you. You said it's a 24-hour position. What's your hours look like for the day?
So I'm available all the time, but my work schedule is Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30.
Do you, with the current conditions, have you been working from home, more virtually? You said there are people who are out in the field. So how has that looked?
So I have been working from home since March 17th, and we reduced our maintenance staff. We kept our operations staff, which the operations is the around the clock. Maintenance is also just Monday through Friday. But so we broke our maintenance staff into teams and have tried to keep them grouped and sort of isolated so that if anything happens to one group, it doesn't take out the rest of the team. I have 3 supervisors at the plant, and I have had 2 of the 3 teleworking while 1 is there, and that was in the beginning, and then we discovered that was kind of a lot for 1 supervisor at the plant, so we've upped it to now there's 2 coming in and rotating out of it. But the operators just had to keep doing what they're doing. So it's been tough on them, but we have 3 operators there at a time, and the plant really can run with 2. So if somebody needs to take off or somebody gets sick, we have that redundancy in the staff.
All together, how many, I guess, employees are at the plant? Like how many would be working there throughout the week, throughout the day?
Under normal conditions, we have a total of 26 O&Ms and TPWs, and there's always 3 operators there.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we schedule it, so there's 12 people that are scheduled in operations, and so that leaves us with 14 people to work in maintenance. And we've had years and years of not being fully staffed, and at this point we are. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Very cool. You said that your employees are not necessarily employees, the O&M, there's field work and computer work, being able to be on computer. And you also said construction, y'all are improving the original plant structure, etc. How has technology, improved for you? I know, and you're working virtually now, and so, but how has technology via maybe the systems that you're working on, or just in general the mechanics, etc., changed?
So, I think it's been critical to stay current on my computer skills over the years. I mean, I use Microsoft Office Suite all day, every day. I need to be able to build spreadsheets to analyze data. I use Word, I use Visio, and of course, like you said, we've all become Teams and Skype masters through all of this. We also used a computerized maintenance management system that's where we keep track of all of our work orders and all of our equipment repairs. And so the guys need to be able to use that software and get in and create work orders and also be able to enter details and add parts and update status on equipment. And that's something that I've seen some of the older set kind of struggle with. But then also, I've learned a lot through, working at the plant and working at pumps and reservoirs about all the instrumentation and electrical equipment that's throughout our pump stations, PLCs, sensors, equipment that can monitor the status and collect real-time data. And we're always looking for ways to automate our equipment more, to where if we can add technology to a chemical pump that can actually, fluctuate as the water quality changes, I hate to think that it would, take away the jobs of our operators, because they still need to be there to monitor as well. But there's been, tons of advances in the field. I don't know if you've heard about the project that's going on to add smart meters to houses throughout the city that are going to give customers actually real-time data of their water usage. So that's a huge project that's going on with Austin Water. And
that's really cool. In my head, I was thinking of like back in the day, like taking a little vial and then putting the chemicals in to like check water and then like seeing it and waiting for it. I don't know why I have this image in my head, but as you talked about that, yeah, that makes sense to bridge the technology with the people and the equipment, and just being more efficient and being able to do more with the water safety and etc. But I'm just like picturing just like waiting, putting chemicals in. So I'm not sure.
Don't get me wrong, we still do that,
Okay.
we still titrate, but we do have some, technology where we can actually just, put the chemicals in a vial and put it in a machine and it gives you the answer.
Oh,
but
there you go. Instead of just like waiting hours looking at it. That's
putting strips in. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. What are some positive aspects of your job?
So, I mean, there's a lot of pride that comes with making a life-sustaining product for your community, and I feel really fortunate to have making a high-quality product that everyone needs. And I feel like it's really neat to know what it takes to get the water from the river to our faucets. I feel like anytime somebody does a load of laundry or washes their hands or flushes the toilet or gets a drink of water, they should just be amazed, because it's quite a process between, the plants to the guys that work pipeline to, the distribution guys. I think it's something that a lot of people take for granted, and knowing the process makes me really appreciate it, But another thing is just the variety of people I get to work with, from mechanics to chemists to engineers. It takes a well-rounded team of people to create that water magic, and no one is more important than the other in the process. So
that's wonderful. We kind of spoke about it already, but what would you recommend to teachers or schools to strengthen students' interest or work career related classes in the classroom? What kind of can they be working on to help better the pipeline that would eventually have workers to get to y'all?
It's funny, I actually polled my 17-year-old twin daughters about this. And, talking to them, they feel like, it's really important for teachers to teach kids how to learn. Something that's been really critical, I feel like, for my success in my career is to, be constantly learning and constantly looking for self-improvement. And if you aren't given the tools at a young age to learn how to learn, I think it would make it difficult to do that throughout your life. I think something else that's important is, as a student, you often feel like the core curriculum, like when am I going to use this later in life? And so if teachers can kind of like pull back and and zoom out a little bit and relate some of that curriculum to just like general life skills. Like math is good for problem solving, and everybody needs to, be able to communicate. Science teaches us, how we fit into the world as far as, all of biology, and I think, history gives us perspective on where we've come from. And so I feel like knowing how to use the information you're learning now makes us better equipped to be, a productive part of society. I also, talking to my girls, they said that it's funny because it's something that they haven't necessarily enjoyed, but they appreciate is group activities and group learning, and it really teaches you how to work with different personalities and how to achieve a common goal. And, that's huge once you're in the workforce. Which another one that I wish I'd gotten more of is public speaking is a big one that I've had to use a lot, and it's been, something that I've had to work on as I've gone through my career. So push kids to do that.
Thank you. Those are great ideas, and I totally agree. I'm still working on that whole communication and public speaking myself, and as well as trying to constantly learn and grow. Connecting like what we're learning in school to like how that will help, and just working with other people, like that has taken me a really long time. I'm still working on that as well. Like people have different styles of communication and different styles of learning and different just very different. And so how do you work with people, and how do you make your team the best with the different kind of people that you have, the different styles, etc. So thank you so much. Lastly, a couple questions related to this. Do you or anyone with your plant on your team, would they be able to work with students via coming to classes to speak, or doing more videos, or working with students just to maybe mentor them or talk to them about the different jobs, bring awareness to what you're doing with Austin Water, etc.?
I would be interested, and I'm pretty sure there's people on my team that would be interested as well. Yes.
Okay, wonderful, because that's a big thing that we're trying to do, bring awareness to all the jobs that are available to them, but the different paths they can take and what's all out there to them. So that would be incredible. So thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, I think that's all my questions that I have. I didn't know if you wanted to add anything else, or if there was anything else you wanted to speak on.
Well, I think what you just kind of finished with is a really good point as far as the different paths, to where, for me, I was never, super into school. I always did well in school, and, I was interested in math and sciences, but it was hard for me to stay engaged. And I was accepted to UT out of high school in Austin, and at the last minute, I decided I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and really last minute was like, I'm not going, and went to work instead, and found that I really enjoyed working with my hands, and that it brought me joy. And then it was that set of skills that got me in with Austin Water. And now that I've moved up, I am interested in going to school, and because I could go farther. And so I would really, push kids to, find something that they really enjoy doing, and then they might be surprised where it ends up taking them. So there's lots of opportunities and lots of options, and, just the way you get there can vary a lot. So
thank you. That just fills my heart with joy, what you said, and very insightful. Thank you so much. And I hope that resonates with kids. I know that it will. Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning and for taking the time to talk with us and share with us. It was a privilege to be able to speak with you.
Thank you for the opportunity.